Sun is shining, and it's a beautiful afternoon for baseball in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Game number 3 between the Cardinals and the Brewers as St. Louis will look for the sweep. Let's give you a brief recap on what has taken place. Monday night, it was Mark Grudzielanek night. The Milwaukee native with a career-high 5 RBIs as the Cardinals would roll in game number 1. Grudzielanek with 7 ribbies in this series. We switch gears and talk a little bit about game number 2 as well, as the Cardinals would pick up good defense and good pitching in this series. Anthony Reyes would make his major league debut. 6 1/3 as he pitched into the 7th. He struck out 5, allowed only 2 hits. Hector Luna, good play in right field. It was a lineup that was primarily a Memphis team, but yet this Cardinals team finds a way to win every single game out, it seems like. Al Hrabosky, Dan McLaughlin with you on FSN Midwest from Milwaukee, and the Cardinals go for the sweep. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All Memphis guys, but yet this team, Al, somehow they find a way to win.
Well, and that's what it's all about. And this is a very talented group of players. With that win last night and with that lineup, it allows Tony to take out a .388 hitter against Sheets. His name is Albert Pujols. He'll be well rested for Chicago. Grudzielanek, who stars the first 2 games, he's not in there. But you get these spare parts, get a chance to play, and hopefully they can look for the sweep.
Yeah, Pujols normally hits third. Well, we've got So Taguchi hitting third today.
That's one and the same. They're interchangeable.
Well, you're right.
Interchangeable.
And it's against one of the game's best in Ben Sheets. He is our 4-key matchup. And his record against the Cardinals really not all that good at 4-10, but when he's on, he can be a dominant starter.
Absolutely. Don't you ever deny Ben Sheets is one of the best in the league. And his teammates have won 8 of his last 10 starts. So the Cardinals could have their hands full. He's a dominant type pitcher. He can go in double figures in strikeouts at any time. And so the Cardinals will be tested.
And Al, it could be interesting to see Jeff Suppan now with an extra day's rest this afternoon.
Jeff Suppan is, he's 3-0 with a 1.80 ERA in this ballpark.
We are at Miller Park in Milwaukee. It's Jeff Suppan getting the start for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's in double figures in victories for St. Louis. The Cardinals look for a sweep. Suppan, Sheets next. Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser Select, brewed for a crisp taste that finishes clean. Be selective. By Auto Tire. For straight talk and great service, you ought to go to Auto Tire. And by Steak and Shake. Real steak, steak burgers, and real milk milkshakes. Served 24 hours a day at Steak and Shake. Roof is open here at Miller Park. It is a gorgeous day here in Milwaukee, and glad you're with us for a little afternoon baseball on FSN Midwest. Dan McLaughlin, Al Hrabosky, Joel Goldberg with you. And after today, we take a bus and we head to Chicago in the first of 4 with the Cubs coming up on Thursday afternoon. Take a look at the Cardinals lineup. It's brought to you by Dodge. Our pregame show guest, David Eckstein, will lead things off and play short. John Rodriguez in left. He'll bat second. So Taguchi filling in for Pujols. He'll bat third. Edmonds is the cleanup man. Had the night off last night. Hector Luna back in there today. He'll play second base. He was in right last night. Nunez is at third. Siebel at first. Einar Diaz behind the plate. Jeff Suppan is on the mound. Let's a look at your Dodge starting lineup for St. Louis. And the pitcher for Milwaukee, it's brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, is Ben Sheets of the Brewers.
I remember Ben Sheets earlier this year had that equilibrium problem, inner ear infection. So his numbers are a little bit down, but he can be a handful. A lot of strikeouts, very good command. He's not a very good, he's one of those pitchers that's really not a good athlete. Can't hit, and he has trouble fielding his position, but he can pitch.
He certainly can. An Olympic hero from 2000. The game winner in the gold medal winning game for Tommy Lasorda and Team USA. The Auto Tire defense, around the horn we go. Link, Lee, Clark Jenkins in the outfield. Hall, Hardy, Weeks, and Overbay on the infield. And behind the plate, it's Damian Miller. Auto Tire defense. There's Matt Morris. You'll see him over the weekend against the Chicago Cubs. He'll pitch in the Sunday night game against Mark Pryor. Pitching matchups coming up. Pretty good ones. Starting tomorrow with Mulder and Maddox. Marquis and Zambrano on Friday. Carpenter and Jerome Williams on Saturday. And Morris and Pryor on Sunday, as we'll visit Wrigley Field for the first time this year. Jeff Suppan trying to become an 11-game winner this afternoon.
And we'll see how that extra day's rest for the rotation, see how that helps out.
Now you would know better than I, but sometimes you see a lineup like this and it benefits a team. The guys that don't get a chance to play every single day out there with something to prove, a little extra jump in their step, and a team that's up by 11.5 games in the Central.
Absolutely right, and that's why that victory last night with that lineup was important.
A couple reasons why is because, as you mentioned, the lineup was out there, but you're facing a very good one at Ben Sheets today.
Face a good pitcher, but it also starts with the fact that you go out there and you challenge the opposition. And I still think that Tony and the Cardinals might have got a little bit of motivation when, after game 1, Ned Yost, manager of the Brewers, said, we can play with these guys. They couldn't play with Memphis last night.
That's popped down the right side and out of play. So Eckstein has a life. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hopefully you enjoyed our pregame show interview with David, who says there's a lot of similarities to the World Championship team in Anaheim a few years ago and what he sees here in St. Louis.
And isn't it interesting now how much camaraderie, what goes on in that clubhouse? The unity is such an integral part of championship teams. At one time it was talent that won. Now it's coming together as a team.
Why do you think that is? I mean, talent seems to rise to the top and outshine anything that would come in its way. But I agree with you, Al. If you have guys that get along, it just seems to work out even more so, and that overcomes the talent, like you said.
Well, it's much easier because you can get guys to do the little things to help each other win.
Eckstein rips it, and it is a fair ball right on the line. There goes little David Eckstein, a 6-pitch at bat, and then he picks up a double. He's a gnat out there. He's the kind of guy you can't stand if you're facing him.
That's a great explanation. He was just 1 for 10 in this series, and now he laces this double right on the chalk line. You can see it fly. And an easy call for Angel Hernandez, and the Cardinals have a good shot. The one thing about Ben Sheets is he has trouble. He's given up 32% of his runs in the first inning. The Cardinals the best in the National League at jumping out to leads, and it's really important for them to do that today.
Seems like these power pitchers, it takes them an inning or 2 to get going, then once they're settled in, watch out. So your best chances sometimes are early on as Rodriguez bunts towards third. Sacrifice will be good. Moving up on the play, Eckstein.
But there's an example of what we talk about, camaraderie, where guys are out there for the front of the name on the front of the jersey, not the one in the back. They can give themselves up. A manager can ask them to do all the little things that help a team win. May not help your individual statistics. And that's why, sometimes you put teams with a big superstar, and the Cardinals got one, but he's their #1 cheerleader, Albert Pujols. But sometimes that big superstar just drags the team down because you have to play to what he wants to do.
Ned Yost was talking about in the papers today the fact that he got the chance to watch yesterday's game from afar, and a squeeze play is on. How about this squeeze laid down by Sotaguchi perfectly, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. That is how you manufacture it.
Well, that's, in the first inning. I mean, how many times will you ever see that? And Ned Yost is well prepared, but Tony pulled one out of the hat right here. And you can do it with your #3 hitter, Sotaguchi. Like I said, this is exactly the play he would have done with Pujols. He would have laid down that squeeze.
Oh, yeah. I mean, why would you let Albert Pujols swing away?
They're interchangeable.
What a fun start to this game. A double by Eckstein, the sacrifice by Rodriguez, and a squeeze play executed to perfection by Sotaguchi. And now Edmonds hits it high in the air to the opposite way, and that's Carlos Lee, and he puts it away. So the Cardinals strike first in game #3 against Ben Sheets. Jeff Suppan to the mound. 1-0 St. Louis. Take a look at the Milwaukee lineup, brought to you by Dodge. Brady Clark, Ricky Weeks, and Lyle Overbay here in their half of the first. Carlos Lee, Jeff Jenkins, Bill Hall, Damian Miller, J.J. Hardy, and Ben Sheets. Cardinals strike first with, of all things, a squeeze play in the first inning. I mean, you won't see that many times, if at all, done by any team in the major leagues. Jeff Suppan, his numbers brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
Well, Suppan is pitching very well against Milwaukee. He's 2-0 this year with a 2.33 ERA. lifetime, he is 9-2. That represents the most wins of any team. And right here at Miller Park, he is 3-0 with a 1.80 ERA, and he's won his last 4 road starts.
How many times have you seen a squeeze play in the first?
I don't think I've ever seen it until today.
Amazing. Cardinals get the double by Eckstein, sacrificed by Rodriguez, squeeze play on the first pitch to Sotoguchi.
I watched that replay of the squeeze play, and Billy Hall, the third baseman, he didn't react for 3 steps after the runner. Eckstein had gone past him.
He was in a state of shock along with everybody else here at the ballpark.
Watch the third baseman here. See, he hasn't even moved yet, and now he starts coming in. And you know, Eckstein was well on his way. I guess he thought he was just going to bluff and stop.
If that's bunted down the third base line, it's an infield hit. As Brady Clark, who has been held in check in this series, hits it fouling out of play. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, we'll truly find out today if Brady's in a real definite slump. He is 0 for what, his last 13 or 14?
But he has absolutely killed Jeff Suppan.
Yeah, 9 for 18 with 2 home runs, so a 500 average, but that's sometimes the luck of the draw. You're in a slump and you get one of your favorite pitchers. He's 0 for his last 14.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Cold foul. I was about to say before that squeeze play, Ned Yost watched the game on television from the clubhouse, and he said he couldn't believe it. He said, you know, you watch Tony La Russa when you're in competition with him, you watch this Cardinals team, you're on the field, but when you step back and watch it on television, it's amazing how these guys are trying to hit the ball to the opposite field, just drive it, hit it up the middle, sacrifice themselves. Like we were talking about, playing a team game, giving up themselves offensively. I said that's why they win, period.
See, Ned's a record, but he has got this team on the move. We're at 500 before the Cardinals came in, so they're 2 games under. But this is a franchise that's starting to have a very productive farm system.
3-2 pitch is hit sharply towards third, taken there by Nunez across the diamond to Seabold. So Scott Seabold, who can play the outfield, second base, third base. We've seen him all over the place. He's at first base this afternoon. Around the horn we go, brought to you by Auto Tire. Rodriguez, Edmonds, Taguchi in the outfield, Nunez, Eckstein, Luna, Seabold on the infield. Einar Diaz is behind the plate. There has got to be people across the country that are tuning into this game and looking at the names in this team and the starting lineups the last couple of nights and saying, how have they done this? How have they opened up an 11.5 game lead? How have they gone 72-41? What's in the water there with the St. Louis Cardinals? Because it's unbelievable for them to be able to play at this level and do it with some of the names that they're trotting out there every single night.
I'm glad you asked, because I'm just going to tell you about my new company I started. It's a water company.
Yeah.
And we supply the Cardinals with water.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Is it better had late at night, or is it just an everyday kind of thing?
No, it's a fountain of youth.
Okay. On the bench, not playing, Walker, Sanders rolling out with us on the trip. No Molina. Although Walker and Sanders are making progress now. But the thing that has been so good so long this season has been the starting 5. The fact that there's no injuries. Bullpen has been very good, one of the best statistically in the game. The closer has been healthy all the way through. And they still have the big guns of Edmonds and Pujols that for the most part have been healthy. David Eckstein has played terrific. Grizzolonic has played terrific.
I guess if you're going to have injuries, you'd rather have it from your position players than your pitching staff. Most teams aren't deep enough. You look at the Yankees, even with their tremendous payroll, they can't overcome their pitching deficiencies and injuries.
People talk about how you have to be so good up the middle, and the Cardinals have been with the combination of Eckstein and Grizzolonic. And I was visiting with Walt Jocketty in the Cardinals dugout prior to the game today, and he said, we knew we were getting a winner in David Eckstein, but we had no idea he was going to be this good defensively. In particular, with his range, the arm has not been a problem after working with the Cardinals medical staff. And their big concern with Grzelcyk was, could he stay healthy? And he has been 100% healthy. And Walt was telling me, Al, that he had no idea that Mark Grzelcyk is this good defensively. And the Cardinals overall, their scouts watching on video, they had no idea he was going to be this good.
I've seen him day in and day out. I always felt he was a good ball player, but I never realized day in and day out he was this good. And it looks like young Chad Fairchild, the home plate umpire, has a very, very small strike zone. There were 2 or 3 pitches that I think Suppan thought he put the ball exactly where he wanted it and didn't get the calls.
Fairchild is behind the plate. Tom Hallion at first, Greg Gibson at second, Angel Hernandez is at third. So a 1-out walk to Weeks, and it brings in Overbay.
Overbay, another one in this lineup that has given Jeff problems. 5 for 13 with a home run for Overbay.
And that pitch is hit to the opposite way, and it drops for a hit. 1 hopper, 2 Rodriguez. It's first and second, 1 out here in the first for Milwaukee.
To that open stance, then strides towards the plate, and a breaking ball, and very nice piece of hitting, not trying to do too much with it. That's what Ned Yost was also commenting about, is they try and hit the ball up the middle to the opposite fields to stay on pitches longer that way.
We have a dedicated fan about, what do you say, about 10 rows in front of us. He brings his own trumpet. That would get a little annoying for me if I'm sitting right in front of him. The head would start to hurt a little bit, Al, after about 3 hours of hearing that.
It's a good thing we both got our rest last night. That could have been a severe problem for us, right?
That's right. You and I will get a lot of rest in Chicago, too.
Absolutely. Both these towns are comparable, aren't they? Chicago and Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. Not much of a difference. Lee, a good rip, and fouls it back. He leads the league in runs batted in. Carlos Lee with 91, Pujols at 89, then Andrew Jones 87, Ensberg 85, Derek Lee of the Cubs dropping off a bit. He is at 84. Derek Lee starts today leading the league in batting average at 348, Pujols at 340. And Andrew Jones leads in the home runs department. He's got 35 and Pujols 31. So here we're playing on August 10th, and Pujols a legitimate shot at the Triple Crown against Jeff Suppan. He is 9 for 44 is Carlos Lee.
He make good pitches. He retires them. You hang a breaking ball or something to him, he's got a chance to hit it out.
He has been, for the most part, quiet against the Cardinals all season long. He does have an RBI in the series, just one in the first 2 games. And this one is popped up right side. Seabold, foul territory, has a play, and he makes it. Runner will tag up. Strong throw from Scott. 1 hopper over to third, not in time. And Weeks, a heads-up play, base running from second to third. Good play, though, by Scott Seabold.
And we'll take that, letting Weeks advance to third base, but I'll take the out here, foul territory, and then leaning over, concentration at the railing. There you see Weeks tagging up and getting over to third base. But that out was more important.
Seabold playing out of position, so to speak, and not really used to the foul territory. Makes a nice play, and here's Jeff Jenkins. Jenkins hitting .292. He came in their hottest hitter into this series against St. Louis.
Nearly 400 since July the 5th.
Runners at first and third, and the first pitch is low and in.
Suppan really mixing his pitches, changing speeds, up and down, in and out. And Jenkins has had trouble with Jeff Suppan. Cardinals #1 in scoring in the first inning, and the Brewers are #2 in the National League.
3 afternoon games in baseball. This one, Cincinnati and Chicago, and the White Sox and the Yankees. Chicago is in a tailspin right now. They're 18 games out in the Central, and they have lost 7 straight. Jenkins just a 179 hitter against Jeff Suppan, and the 1-0 pitch, a high strike, and it's 1-1. And Jenkins glares back at the home plate umpire, Chad Fairchild.
Brewers have had troubles with the umpires in this crew. It's usually been on balk calls. Back-to-back games where the starter had a balk called against him.
Ned Yost went ballistic after the balk call yesterday. Count is even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Suppan from the stretch. Off the mound, Nunez has to gun it over to first, and they got him. Off of Suppan, he trots off the mound. He's fine. To Nunez, over to first, and Scott Seabold 1-5-3 on the putout, and it's 1-0 Cardinals after 1.
Watching MSN Midwest, where Cardinals fans come first.
Tell us here in the booth, foxsports.com on MSN. The keyword is Cardinals booth. So you've got to occupy yourself when you're on the disabled list and you're trying to pass the time watching a game. So you've got Larry Walker, who's flicking the seeds on Matt Morris, who's been caught by our cameras. He's a little unhappy as Loon on the first pitch pops it up.
So that was okay when he was 30, but now that he's 31, you don't do these childish things.
That's right.
And then Larry is
what's that say about Larry? He's past 31.
Well, yeah, but when you get to be 38, you can do it again. Then it's cool.
So it just comes roundabout again.
Yeah, just roundabout. Larry is very well known for his being an all-star prankster.
Here's Nunez, switch hitter for St. Louis, playing third base. Nice way to end that first inning. Off of Jeff Suppan to Nunez, over to Seabold. I thought he was going to have to barehand that almost all in one motion and then throw, but he was able to glove and throw after it ricocheted off of Jeff. 2 down. And the batter will be Scott Seabold. Cardinals manufactured their first run with a double by Eckstein, sacrificed by Rodriguez. Squeeze play in the top of the first was Sotaguchi. Seabold hitting .224, that 1 home run against the Yankees. Hits it off the end of the bat on a liner, and a quick inning for Ben Sheets. Cardinals go 1-2-3. Midway through the second, St. Louis on top. Bottom of the second we go here in Milwaukee. And let's go pitch by pitch. Just 4 to talk about in the top half of this inning.
Fastball inside, jams him, a little pop up to Luna. Then Nunez. He got 2 pitches, a breaking ball here and a little soft liner. And here talk about another one right at the end of the bat, breaks his bat off Seabold. So he had 7 warm-up tosses and 4 during the game.
There's a look at Albert Pujols, and we have an email from Pat Porter, who writes in wanting to know about Albert's heel. She says, I don't hear you guys talking about his heel. And that's because, Pat, it has not been a problem, which has been a pleasant surprise for both Albert and the Cardinals. Initially, in spring training, the Cardinals felt that there would be certain series that he might have to take off. 3 days in a row, mix in maybe an off day between one series and the next, try to get 4 days out of it. But I talked to Albert about it the other day, and he said it has not been a problem whatsoever. That's good news.
Good news, and good news that we don't talk about.
Yep.
An injury with him. We got enough.
And Pujols has been a guy that does not want to sit out ever. That includes in games like today.
Sure. He ends up not getting a hit in this series. So in the recent, he didn't get a hit in the Chicago series, didn't get a hit here in the Milwaukee series, but put a little asterisk behind it because he sits out today, and he might still.
Pitch misses in by Suppan.
So that's a pitch that's been inside, maybe even down, but they look like they're at the bottom of the strike zone. So pitches where Suppan wants to throw the ball, but not getting the call.
Count of 1-2 on Bill Hall. Sticks the bat out and spoils a pitch. A good one by Suppan, that time on the outside corner. Jeff Suppan will be the first to tell you he's a guy that has to hit his spots, and he's been going in and out and hitting those spots in the first 2 innings, and in particular in this at bat.
It's a little frustrating when you don't get the call for it.
It's Hall to reach for the first out. Jeff Suppan, one of those guys that before a game you can actually approach him. As you see his loss to the Marlins last Thursday. When it's his day to start out, you can go up and have a conversation with Jeff Suppan. It doesn't bother him one bit. But most guys do not like. It's like a goaltender in hockey. You can't approach a goaltender on a game day. Same goes for a starting pitcher. I mean, Chris Carpenter, perfect example. His own teammates don't even talk to him.
Sure, you know, you start out with that as your MO. You do not. You just try to wish him luck, but you don't have to get any conversation with the starter. But Jeff is one of those guys, so easygoing. Doesn't bother him. He'll be prepared one way or another. But it really means he can tune us out.
Basically, that's what he was telling me today.
Yeah,
he really
that's
did.
what I mean.
He said, I don't worry about what you're going to say to me. He said, you never have. Why start now? 1 ball, 1 strike on Damian Miller. Jeff Suppan arguably was the Cardinals' best pitcher in postseason play. And he was the guy on the outside looking in, remember?
Right. If Carpenter would have been healthy, most people thought that he would be the odd man out. And then he turns it around. He had the most wins last year, too. Career high 16.
Very valuable guy for the Cardinals. Logs a bunch of innings.
Kind of an option for next season, club option. So that's a tough decision.
My gut tells me he'll be back.
Well, and you know, and as much as Anthony Reyes impressed us last night, you've got to temper that a little bit with just saying it was just 1 start. And he has a history of arm problems, college through the minor leagues. So
even this year, a shoulder problem.
Sure. So it was very impressive, but just never know.
What I say about Suppan, I mean, you know what you're getting every time out. For the most part, 6-7 innings. He's going to get you close to 200 innings, if not above.
Jeff is the perfect pitcher for the Cardinals, because even though he's getting the second fewest runs per start of the rotation, he keeps you in every game.
3-2 pitch, doesn't get the call there. That's his second walk that he has issued today. Arnie's Singular Wireless and the Cardinals, along with the Post-Dispatch, are proud to sponsor the all-Busch Stadium team balloting. Your chance to vote for your favorite Cardinals. You can log on to the Cardinals website at stlcardinals.com or vote. Text message 7267 on your Singular Wireless phone. The all-Busch Stadium team. That'll be some fun. So 1-out walk to Miller, and it brings in Hardy. Third baseman Nunez cheating in, and the first pitch is a ball. And while we have an afternoon game going on, we remind you that operators standing by if you'd like to get tickets for the remaining home schedule for the Cardinals, because those are being gobbled up. I was talking to some of the folks in the ticket office the other day. A bunch of those games at the end of the season, they are anticipating to be sold-out games. So if you haven't come down to get your final look at Busch Stadium, you might as well get them right now.
Last day of the season, that's sold out. Second to last day, I think it's standing room only. So you might even want to work backwards from the last game. You know, work this way, get those tickets, because a lot of people historically, when a stadium is going to be closed down, people come from all around the country or world. I got tickets for the last game at Tiger Stadium. I got tickets for 3 different people, groups of people that had ties to Detroit in some way, wanted to be there for the final weekend.
I'm assuming they were from all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, they were, people I knew in Missouri.
2 balls, 2 strikes on J.J. Hardy. And he pops it up on the infield. It's going to be Luna that takes it. 2 outs. And it brings in Ben Sheets. As you mentioned, Al, this guy, you talk about struggling at the plate. Ben Sheets is the poster child for struggles at the plate.
0 for 34 this season.
He can't go hitless an entire year, can he?
How did he get 7 RBIs?
It was about this time that Jeff Suppan picked up his first hit wearing that Cardinals uniform. I mean, we heard all the guys telling us, oh, he's a good hitter, one of the best hitting pitchers in the league, and he struggled. And Sheets grounds it towards Luna. And he's done here in the second. And we move to the third. It'll be Diaz, Suppan, Eckstein coming up. The Redbirds on top 1-0. Cardinals a lead of 1-0. 1 hit aside. Top of the third we go here in Milwaukee. This day in baseball history at Metropolitan Stadium. Harmon Killebrew becomes the 10th player to join the 500 home run club. This day in baseball history brought to you by Schnucks. And hell, Harmon Killebrew, of course, was at your golf tournament in Gala this past summer. I couldn't believe his size. I thought he was a much bigger man.
No.
I couldn't believe it. His forearms were huge.
Yeah, I mean, you used to look at the power hitters, and it goes from Aaron to Mantle to Killebrew. All these guys, were basically 5'10" to 6'1", 185 to 200 pounds. But they all had a common, forearm and wrist. That was their common denominator.
He was not a big man. I couldn't believe it.
He was one of the nicest men you'll ever meet.
Sure was. He was great to all the people that were there, signing autographs, shaking hands, taking pictures. 1 ball, 1 strike on Einar Diaz with Suppan on deck, and then the top of the order for the Cardinals. Diaz pops it up and out of play. 2 strikes now on the Cardinals catcher as Red Shandies has made his way into our booth. And we were talking during the break about the squeeze play the Cardinals put on in the first, and I asked him, have you ever seen that before? I know you said you had, Al, and Red in all his years of baseball playing and managing, watching, has never seen that before either.
There he is.
Ball, 3rd strike on the outside corner, and Einar Diaz is going to say, listen, if it's a strike on me now at the plate, when I'm behind the plate, it better be a strike too.
First strikeout for Sheets. It won't be his last, and I think Diaz thought it was outside, and sure looked like it was wide.
It was a 4-pitch second inning for Ben Sheets. He strikes out the first he sees in the third, and now it's Jeff Suppan.
I'm sure Diaz would be that company man and say, okay, if you give that to my pitcher, we'll be okay.
Larry Walker, by the way, has said that he feels significantly better. And of course, he's had the 3 cortisone shots. He is with the club on this trip, as we showed you before, and I was talking with Larry about it, and the fact that he feels that this is one of the better times that he's felt since all the injuries. That's off of Sheets. Tough play from the outfield grass, and they got him. Great play out there by the second baseman, Ricky Weeks.
Ricky Weeks has such tremendous talent. Got great offensive potential. He's got great athleticism. He runs well, and he's really trying to evolve as a fielder. But when you make plays like this, he's going to be a terrific player down the road. He's made 11 errors in not that many games, but he stole 10 bases. Remember the home run he hit at Busch Stadium.
I was about to say he's shown some power at the plate. He drives the baseball. And with 2 outs, nobody on, the batter will be David Eckstein, who doubled and scored. Back in the first. 6-pitch at bat for David back in that first inning, and he hit the chalk on a drive down the left field line that's just barely stayed fair. His average at 270. Corners are in for Eckstein. 1 ball, 1 strike. See the center fielder shading him a bit to the opposite field and playing shallow for the Cardinal leadoff man. don't see that very often. A swing and a miss by Eckstein.
He's only swung and missed 35 times with that one, and over 790 swings.
Another big crowd here today in Milwaukee. With the sun shining through. The roof is open.
Best weather I've ever seen here in Milwaukee.
The hottest weather.
3 days.
Not supposed to get this hot.
Humidity is down a little bit.
Another curveball and lifted out to center. That will be taken by Brady Clark. He'll lead things off when we come back. Bottom of the third coming up. Cardinals on a squeeze play. And beautiful Milwaukee lead it 1-0.
We're watching FSN Midwest, where Cardinals fans come first.
Portion of Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. We're ready in advance. And by Rico. How well do you print, copy, scan, fax? How well do you share? Afternoon baseball on FSN as the Cardinals look for a sweep over the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll be in Chicago tomorrow afternoon.
Hey, Dan.
And again on Friday.
Does that remind you of anything?
Sure does. Told you I got good sleep last night. Here's Brady Clark. Clark, Weeks, and Overbeck.
No diaper patrol until Friday night.
You got it.
He's a month old now.
Month old in a day. Good memory.
You driving yet?
Feels like it after some of these games. They take a little while. This one a nice pace to it. These two pitchers going at it pretty good. Clark pulls it foul. Brady Clark from Portland, Oregon. 6'2", 200-pounder. He was claimed off waivers from New York.
He's done a really nice job. And you wondered when they traded Podsednik who would play center field, and Brady Clark has answered that with a .311 batting average. Doesn't have the base stealing ability of Podsednik.
This is a guy that was an all-star multiple times in the minor leagues, but never got it together with the Cincinnati Reds. Came up back in 2000, and with the Reds primarily used as a pinch hitter. Then he was off to New York, only played in 10 games there, and claimed off waivers by Milwaukee, and has turned into an everyday player.
Well, the funny thing is, you know, talking about Podsednik, remember when they had Sanchez here, who was just released from San Francisco, his third team he's been released, but they got tired of his attitude here in Milwaukee, and that created the opening for Podsednik, who should have won the Rookie of the Year. Ned Yost does have this team moving in the right direction. I think Ned's a real fair guy that will give guys chances.
I'm sure you saw where Sanchez released again yesterday
by the Giants.
So
went to spring training with Detroit, got released from Tampa Bay where he was hitting about .330, and now been injured with Giants, but they tired of him.
He just must be a bad guy. First man that was busted in the major leagues under the new steroid policy. Good at bat here by Clark, making Suppan work. But here's a guy though that is not a bad defensive player, has tremendous speed, and yet he can't latch on with some of these teams that we're talking about, the Detroits of the world, the Tampa Bays of the world.
Well, but I think
Milwaukee
has got so much baggage, and when you're really basically a singles hitter and disruptive force, nobody really wants you. He's got some talent though, no doubt about that.
And the misconception about steroid use in the game of baseball is that it's power hitters. Well, it's like you said, a singles hitter that gets caught, and a ton of pitchers that are getting caught.
The pitchers probably is something that is surprising to a lot of people.
Two-two pitch in the dirt. Suppan has walked 2 in the first 2 innings, and he goes 3-2 on Clark. Email from Mike, who wants to know about Mike Lincoln as Dave Duncan watches his right-handed starter Jeff Suppan. I know Tony La Russa felt a couple of weeks ago that the Cardinals at some point in September would see Mike Lincoln, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
That's a question I've keep on failing to ask, because I know Mike had a tough time. He had that second operation this year, and that kind of really set him back. But when he saw him in spring training, it looked like he was going to be ready and could break with the club, but came out of the chute a little bit too quickly and re-injured himself. And you and I were extremely impressed with Mike when he first came up last year.
Great curveball. Clark hits this one down the left field line and pulls it foul. How many pitches in this at bat?
In fact, he's hitting .500 against Suppan. He's 10 pitches this at bat. 5 to get to 3-2, and then 5 more at 3-2. And he keeps on pulling everything.
Crowd's a plate. Here comes a 3-2 pitch. Good at bat there by Clark. 11 pitches, and draws a leadoff walk to start the bottom of the third. And here's Ricky Weeks, second baseman, who's come up with a very nice play to take a hit away from Jeff Suppan. Selected in the first round, second overall back in 2003.
Suppan has induced 18 double plays this season. It's tied for 6th in the league.
Weeks was a finalist in 2004 for the Sullivan Award as the U.S.'s top amateur athlete. Watch out.
Yeah, that's not just baseball player.
That's right. That's across the board. He did get the Golden Spikes Award as the best amateur player in baseball. He's the college player of the year.
You can see how, having 12, 13 losing seasons, they've gotten a lot of high draft picks, but their scouts have done a pretty good job because they're starting to all come up now.
Little chopper, can they turn two? Nunez, Luna, strong arm to first, and the pick by Seabold. Nicely done. And Luna's down at second.
They're both down.
Clark is hurt, and so is Luna, as he was taken out hard at second base on the turn.
Start baseball, but throw kind of handcuffed Luna a little bit, and he stayed right in there. See, double clutches. He gets his knee.
Oof.
It looked like, and maybe he knocked the wind out of him, but you know, Brady Clark got just as bad. He might have got, he got his rib cage, like the knee, and maybe he got hit in the ribs with the knee, and so they're both down.
Almost looked like Luna's right knee was hyperextended, just hanging there as Clark came flying in.
Clark's first one up.
A 5-4-3 double play, and that erases the leadoff walk to Clark. And this is a tough turn.
It's right. It's
Let's
a right
see if the
knee.
spike is caught there.
Yep, and it gets turned over right there. He's on his feet. That's a good sign right now. Hector Luna's kind of bouncing around, so maybe it looks terrible there, but he's walking around out there, and let's hope that's the case. Tony's trying to talk to him. Now, Lindsey Polite had a chance to go tell Tony La Russa that he wanted to see Grizzolonic, so I think it's Lindsey's fault. Rocking pretty good right now. Gets to the bag. He didn't get the handle on it the first time he reached in the glove, and that kept him at the bag a little longer. And they're both appear to be okay, and that's a good sign. Good hard baseball, and that'll teach you to reach in there and get it the first time.
You leave yourself exposed with the hesitation, and that was a good double play turned by the Cardinals. 5-4-3, and now it's Overbay, who singled to the opposite field his first time up. Overbay is swing and a miss, hitting .278 with 16 home runs and 56 RBIs, and this guy was a doubles machine, having a chance to play every day last year for Milwaukee. Brewers traded away Richie Sexson, one of the guys they got back, Overbay.
Yeah, that was one of those trades where I think the Milwaukee faithful were very upset and only saw it as a means of dropping payroll, but that really was a good trade for the organization, because you got some good young players. Capiano came in that deal. De La Rosa, I think De La Rosa too, and Overbay,
Council,
Spivey.
Look at Luna. He's been busy. Good play on that short out. Hector Luna with a dandy play to end this third inning here in Milwaukee. It was his double play that got the first 2 outs on the turn. He seems to be all right. Cardinals on top as we head to the fourth. Cardinals have a lead as Magruder takes over in center field. It's 1-0 St. Louis. John Rodriguez will lead it off. Rodriguez, Taguchi, and Edmonds for the Cardinals. There's a bang play out there on that double play turned by Luna. Both players were shook up a bit and taken out of the game. Brady Clark, Magruder in there.
Last night, Rodriguez got a RBI single. It was a game winner, and he broke an 0 for 10 slide.
2 balls, 1 strike. He sacrificed his first time up as the Cardinals had a squeeze play in the top of the first for the game's only run. Rodriguez hits it a mile high on the infield. This will be taken by the shortstop, J.J. Hardy, for the first out. This week on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, the National League Central leading Cardinals invade Wrigley Field to take on the Cubs in one of baseball's best rivalries. Coverage begins Saturday noon on Fox KTVI back home in St. Louis. It's Fox Saturday Baseball. So Rodriguez retired for the first out. Here's So. Anthony Reyes made his major league debut here last night. He was terrific with 6 1/3. 2 runs allowed as Taguchi lifts this one into shallow center. Magruder, who initially broke back, will make the catch round number 2. So Anthony Reyes gets the reward of being sent back down to the minors.
But he also gets the reward of respect he earned from his future teammates. He'll be back at the latest in September, and he will be better equipped when he comes back, because he's already had that debut under his belt and a win.
2 outs. Here's Edmonds. First pitch up and in. 2 outs, nobody on for Jimmy. Ben Sheets has got that very good curveball, and he mixes in a excellent fastball, and he can be tough.
Oh, he's high octane 90s.
It's a true 12-6 curveball too.
Yeah, very good curveball, and you know, he's a fly ball pitcher. He'll give up his share of home runs. He's allowed 18.
It's the call on the inside corner, 2-2.
Jim didn't like that call. Doesn't say anything. Steps out. The call is not being called on the right-handed batters on the inside part of the plate.
Here comes a 3-2 pitch to Edmonds with 2 outs, nobody on. Luna on deck.
Brewers are 23-19 in day games, and the Cardinals have had their problem in day games. Not really. 22-19, but
got him on the inside corner. Same pitch that Edmonds spun away from before. So with that strikeout, it is number 2 this afternoon for Sheets. Another 1-2-3 inning. Bottom of the fourth coming up. 21st, bring your kids to the ballpark for the Build-A-Bear Workshop Bear Day. All kids 12 and under with a paid admission receive a specially designed bear featuring the final season logo. The number to call is 421-2400 or log on to stocardinals.com. Here's Carlos Lee. And the first pitch is strike from Jeff Suppan.
And you talked about how the Cardinals pitchers have really contained Lee this season. He's 6 for 45 and only 2 RBIs, no home runs.
Good old-fashioned baseball trade that worked out for both teams. Pasednik from Milwaukee to the White Sox. Lee from the White Sox here to Milwaukee, and he flies to right. He's 0 for 2.
And contrasting players. One's a speed player, the other is a slugger.
What's your gut feeling? You think the Cardinals are done making a move, trying to improve this team, not just for this year, but beyond?
I know Walt Jockey's working hard all the time. He has his lieutenants out there searching and scouring, but you've got to find a trading partner. I would not be surprised, but
you know, the thing that stood out last year in the acquisition of Walker was that even within the traveling party and with players, sometimes things will get out and you hear about things. That was so quiet, we never heard a word about it
till the day up.
Yep. Right back to Suppan. Hits off him. He throws to Scott Seabold, and he's limping out there.
And got some flesh.
The second ball that has hit him today.
Greg Houck, the assistant trainer, was come out and check on him now.
Let's take a look at this replay. This will be to give you an idea of the speed of the ball, the normal speed, and the angle of our camera gives you a real good idea of the reaction of Jeff Suppan here. Not much time whatsoever.
No, and you kind of look at this in slow motion, and right off the end of the bat, coming right back at it, looked like right above the knee, and I'm not sure if it got hand or if it got you know, above the knee. He says he's okay. It's almost a little more embarrassed than anything else. But you can see how he's in the daylight and about almost halfway the shaded area there, so he might have not seen that ball until he got right on top of him. All things considered, he says he's okay and could have been hit in worse places.
To watching what happened to Matt Clement a couple weeks ago and seeing balls that are just flying at a rapid speed back to these pitchers, it's amazing that someone has not been hurt seriously pitching in the game of baseball. And maybe not so much at the major league level, but how about during the College World Series, watching some of those guys take their cuts with aluminum bats?
Yeah, kids not going to get that much stronger.
Quickly, 2 strikes on Hall.
You know, that's twice Jenkins was the batter that hit the one that went off of Suppan, deflected to Nunez. So I wouldn't pitch him where you've been pitching.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. I've heard from guys after they were hit on liners back how they would cringe on a pitch that they would throw on the outer half of the plate, because that's the one that's going to come back.
That's one of the things why you learn to pitch inside.
Sure.
You know, because that ball out there is the one that's going to come back at you. And if he comes at you, if you're pitching inside, it's just maybe off the handle, so he's not going to have any steam on it.
Bryce Flory was one of those pitchers that was injured. Matt Clement actually had a comebacker again last night, and he got a standing ovation from the folks at the ballpark, obviously with a recent history of what took place with him. He was right back on the mound. He's arguably been the Red Sox best pitcher this year. This one is popped up, foul territory, room for Seabold. He'll make the catch. Second time he's been over there today. And we have played 4 here in Milwaukee. Cardinals have Luna, Nunez, and Seabold coming up. St. Louis on top by a run. Jeff Suppan and the Cardinals, a lead of 1-0 here in Milwaukee. The Aflac trivia question prior to today: when was the last successful suicide squeeze in the first inning?
Great.
Now, is that concerning all of baseball, I guess, or with the Cardinals? All of baseball, we're told.
And I wonder if the key word there is successful.
Always thinking, aren't you, Al?
Well, you know, guys in truck always make you think. Mr. Met Rocky Mountains.
Miguel Cairo for one of those questions as Luna swings and misses. He's down on strikes, and here comes Ben Sheets. Now he is really in a rhythm.
Well, and now you've got to look and see how brilliant was that squeeze in the first inning. As a leadoff hit of this ball game is the only hit the Cardinals have got. He's set down. Well, he's really set down everybody since that hit.
Because after that, it was the sacrifice and then the suicide squeeze. So
13 in a row.
That's right, 13. Nunez popped out to second base his first time up. Ben Sheets wasted no time trying to go through this Cardinals lineup. Room into right center. And a little tapper towards first. That's going to be off the bag. It is a fair ball. Overbay, a charity hop to him. It stayed in fair territory, and he comes up with the play.
You just never know how it's going to bounce, and it just hits there perfectly, and he's back far enough to where it didn't get over his head, and slow enough that it bounced just right up there to make a nice easy play and step on the base.
So 14 straight set down by Sheets. It was a leadoff double that was on the chalk for David Eckstein.
Game of inches.
This one is popped up, coming hard, but won't make the play with Sheets and Overbay.
But if this game ends 1-0 on a one-hitter, I mean, why do you sit there and say defend? Well, I didn't have my squeeze defense in the first inning.
Can't defend it. It's the last thing you're thinking.
Well, and it's so, even if it's in the ninth inning, it's so hard to defend, because if you get the bunt down, it doesn't even have to be a good one.
A check swing hit out to J.J. Hardy, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3. Luna, Nunez, Seabold go down here in the Cardinals half of the fifth. Miller, Hardy, Sheets coming up. Suppan back to work. Cardinals have a lead of 1-0. It was a squeeze play back in the first inning that gave the Cardinals their lead, and that is what our Affleck trivia question is about today. When was the last successful suicide squeeze in the first? The Cardinals, July 2nd. Astros at the Reds.
In the big leagues.
Okay.
Well, it's happened this year.
So not just the Cardinals.
A little over a month ago. No, it was all of baseball.
All of baseball.
Be interesting to see and get our guys working on this one. But how many have there been in the history?
What do you think? Just a handful, maybe?
Well, that one kind of makes you think there maybe is more. You know, if there's 2 in the last month plus. But I would have to think there haven't been a lot. And you almost wonder if that was, it didn't say who did it, right? I wonder if it was the Cincinnati doing it with when Brad Ausmus did it. How did Brad Ausmus come up in the first inning?
I'm sure they had a lead at the time.
4-0
because
lead.
He's down in their order.
Like usually hitting 8.
Yeah.
That was not as dramatic as doing it the first inning. I mean, 0-0 game.
Called third strike. Good pitch by Suppan.
And now Diaz can say, okay, you're fair.
Here's our Hardy's hot pitch of the game. And you're right, Al. Diaz was called out on a similar pitch when he was at the plate. Now behind the plate, he sets up on that outside corner and gets that call. Yep. Hardy's hot pitch of the game.
Because Suppan just hit it perfectly, and Damian Miller, all he has to do is say, wait a minute. We got one on Diaz, so you have your, can't say anything because Diaz says, wait, but what about me?
And here's J.J. Hardy, the number 8 man in this lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Good way for Chad Fairchild, the vacation umpire behind the plate today, to welcome himself to the catcher's fold.
1 ball, 1 strike with the pitcher on deck. This could be a quick inning for Suppan, as Ben Sheets does not have a hit this year. Only 1 hit aside in this game. Both those hits back in the first. Good curveball and a swing and a miss. I was about to say that Doug Stanton, our graphics guru will be feverishly putting together the list of teams and how many times a squeeze play has happened in the first.
Only Doug could do it.
He loves those kind of questions.
I wish we were more challenging to it.
On the outside corner, he's going to go back right at that corner and gets the call again. That one a little bit lower, looked like, than the previous call third strike, but Suppan gets it. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Tomorrow the Cardinals will head to the Windy City. We hope you join us. 12:30 with Cardinals Today, the pregame show from Wrigley Field. Cardinals and the Cubs, game 1 of a 4-game set tomorrow. And Cincinnati is leading Chicago. It's 3-1 in the 4th inning at Wrigley today.
And they have the bases loaded to the Reds with nobody out.
Situation where Chicago is just falling apart here down the stretch.
They've lost 7 in a row.
August 10th, and at home they are under 500 at 27-28. Against the Central, just 4 games above 500. 2 places where you have to win. Sheets is 0 for 2, 1-2-3 inning for Suppan, who's allowed just 1 hit. Sheets has allowed just 1 hit. Diaz, Suppan, Eckstein coming up as we head to the 6th.
Watching FSN Midwest, where Cardinals fans come first.
Ball is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Jack invites you to come in and experience ciabatta. It's all about the bread. By your local Chrysler Jeep dealers. And by U.S. Cellular. U.S. Cellular, we connect with you. Isn't Harley Davidson just around the corner here in Milwaukee?
Yes, it is.
Have you ever taken that tour?
No, I have not.
Would you like to next time we come?
No, I wouldn't.
And it's a ground ball as Al and I continue to go through this. I was watching our buddy Bob Uecker last night. Not on a Brewers game or telecast or listening on the radio. It was Harry Doyle.
Ah. Harry Doyle.
That's why you're the best in the business, Al.
Major leagues.
You got it.
This color guy was just like me, wasn't he?
There's so many ways I could go with that. Here's Jeff Suppan with 1 out, nobody on. Bob Uecker in many ways is this franchise. As Suppan hits it fair, taken there by the third baseman. Nice play by Hall. That's twice now that Suppan has been retired.
And twice he's been robbed by a Brewer infielder. Billy Hall, look, right over the bag, spears it, sets himself, and throws. Ricky Weeks got him the first time, Billy Hall. So this is a bright future with these kids. Then you think about Cecil Fielder.
Prince Fielder.
Cecil Fielder's son. And I mean, they've got some things. They got some, some power arms in the bullpen and stuff. They got some young arms. It's going to be a team to reckon with, and their AAA team has a real nice, comfortable lead in the Pacific Coast League.
David Eckstein will take his time getting set in the box. Allow Jeff Suppan a breather, and the first pitch a strike. Now, Cardinals last couple of years have not really been bringing up many of their players from AAA, with the exception of what's happened now when there's injuries. And look at that pitch by Sheets. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that Sanders is healthy and Walker and some of the other guys, many times you don't see those players called up.
Well, Cardinals have used their farm system as a feeder mechanism to get major league talent. So I mean, you can make the argument, and many have, that it's not a productive farm system, but Tony will tell you that it's very productive because we're winning consistently, and a lot of it is because of the farm system.
There's a liner, 1 hopper to the second baseman. Knocked down. Eckstein retired. How about Ben Sheets? He allows the first man that he sees, David Eckstein, a leadoff double. Since then, he's been perfect. 1-2 What's on tap is brought to you by Budweiser. The Cardinals and the Cubs tomorrow 12:30 from Wrigley Field as two of the fiercest rivals going head to head in the National League. Always fun with the Cardinals and the Cubs. And tomorrow 12:30.
No fun for the Cubbies right now as Griffey just hit a 2-run double. Cubbies trail 7-1 in the 4th inning, and Cincinnati's still batting.
And these are costly losses for Chicago. Could be 8 straight, and that could drop them 7.5 games back in the wild card.
How many teams they got to leapfrog over?
Well, it could be even more so at the end of the day than at the start, because Arizona is just a half game back behind Chicago. So you could be talking about Arizona, Milwaukee, New York, Florida, Philadelphia, Washington, and Houston.
Good night.
Yep. Here's Magruder. He's filling in for Clark. He was injured on the slide at second base, going in hard on Hector Luna. Clean play. Both guys seem to be a little bit shook up. Luna stayed in the game and Clark came out.
How do you Ben Sheets called his mom and said, "Hey mom, started the game today. You want the good news or the bad news?" Good news, I threw a 1-hitter. Bad news is I lost 1-0.
That's Seabold. And let me tell you how I maybe lost this 1-0 game. It was the number 3 man in the lineup that put down a squeeze play in the 1st inning. This thing's crazy.
It's like talking about the Houston one. It was like the 8th hitter, already leading 3-0, drops down a squeeze.
But to me, that's the other part of it. The number 3 man in the lineup.
Number 3 hitter.
Putting it down. And now it's Ricky Weeks who was hit into a double play and walked. Really the only blemish for Suppan has been the walks. He's got 3 today that he's handed out. He has struck out 2. We're in the bottom of the 6th. 1-0 St. Louis. Little chopper left side, deep in the hole. Eckstein, long throw, safe at first. Infield hit for Weeks as Eckstein made that close.
Well, he can fly, but he made it very close. Another one of those plays that David is not supposed to execute. He's not even supposed to get it this close, but that arm strength is a lot better than people give it credit for. Let's see if he was safe. Thought he was out, and it's, you know, the one thing I thought about Tom Hallion, the first base umpire, you know, they always talk about being stationary. It looked like he was moving on the play.
Bang bang over there at first base. Good job by Eckstein even to make that thing close.
Yep.
Cardinals would love another double play here and send this to the 7th.
Look at the first base umpire. They always talk about they want to be set so they can make the call. And you can see he's really still moving as it's a bang bang play right there.
My question is why?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the kind of play that
you would have thought he could make it just straddling the line where he is right now.
He can just take a couple of steps, be stationary, and see the play perfectly. Either way, it's an infield hit.
To get there to clearly see, a lot of times they go by sound, but to clearly see if when the ball's in the glove and look at the foot, that's pretty good eyesight.
Short lead at first for Weeks. Stolen base threat over there at first base.
It's 10 for 10 in steals.
Overbay has singled, one of the 2 on the day for Milwaukee, and he's also grounded out to second base. The outfield is straight away for Overbay. He's got some pop with 16 home runs. Now you were talking about Prince Fielder and what could happen here in Milwaukee is that Overbay very well could be on the move because they've got to find a spot for him to play. If they're going to bring up a young player, they want him to play every day. So what happens to Lyle Overbay?
Well, you know, he's a valuable commodity in his own right, and he was a guy that I thought maybe was going to be headed elsewhere at the trading deadline, maybe this winter. But I've also heard the coaches for the Brewers say we need to find an Overbay type to play third base. And as you said, they always an option of possibly putting him in the outfield.
The only problem with that is that you got Carlos Lee in left and Jenkins in right.
Jenkins has signed a long-term contract. Carlos Lee having a great season.
And he's not going to play center.
No.
And the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. And let's see if Weeks wants to do some running here. 2-0, 2-1, a running count. Suppan, a long look. He's not running, and the pitch is lined into the seats.
He really didn't have that look about him.
It's a short lead, too, at first for a guy with his kind of quickness and speed.
And a lot of times where guys that, when you think of traditional running counts, seems like they hardly ever do run on those counts anymore.
Little bigger lead over there at first. Suppan, long lead and a look, and you could see, like you said, Al, the lean by the runner at first.
And that was one of those set plays that managers do all this base stealing defense, and they relay to the catcher to give him a sign just to hold the ball, stay at the ready position, but don't pitch.
Count is 2 balls and 1 strike on the batter Overbay. 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Opposite field hit. He's also grounded out at second base. Cardinals could use a double play here to send us to the 7th. And St. Louis will have numbers 2, 3, and 4 in the order coming up. Ground ball. Luna diving stop, knocks it down, gets away from it.
Keep it on the infield. You keep the runners at first and second instead of first and third.
So back-to-back infield hits for Milwaukee.
A big hole on the right side as he was playing up towards the middle. So a long run to his left and a dive. He knocks it down, and that saves Ricky Weeks, the lead runner, from going all the way to third base. So there is a plus to the play.
But now you've got Carlos Lee.
And double play still in order for the double play candidate.
First pitch to him, and he unloads into left field. Rodriguez over. He'll get there and make the catch. Runners back to second and first. And Carlos Lee, with all kinds of opportunities in this series and this season against St. Louis, just has not delivered. Those 2 outs.
Well, first pitch, let's see if he gets a run off the end of the bat.
Suppan may have gotten away with one.
It right off the end of the bat, and it didn't sound good. You see a big guy, and first you see the trajectory of going up towards the left field. You go, uh-oh. But then you think about the sound, and Rodriguez was able to get it.
So there's 2 outs. And now Jenkins.
Jenkins twice has lined the ball right back at Suppan, and Jeff has made one great play himself, and Nunez got the deflection and made the other. And if you go inside, make sure you're way inside.
And he does for strike 1.
It's almost like he fooled him with that fastball. I think he's going to get something off speed, and that's what Jeff can do. Gives you a little bit of everything, every different location. And when he throws a fastball, it looks like it's about 99.
Outfield is deep and straight away.
Nearly everybody in the infield pulled around.
Ground ball, backhanded play by Seabold, leads Suppan perfectly. Good job today by Scott Seabold. A couple of fly balls in foul territory that he has picked up. He had a good pick on the double play and a nice play here on a backhand. And then the lead to Jeff Suppan. Cardinals on top as we head to the 7th.
FSN Midwest, where Cardinals fans come first.
Ed Small is today's merchandise winner in the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Ed qualifies for the Hyundai Tucson drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Numbers 2, 3, and 4 in the order for St. Louis. John Rodriguez will lead it off. He sacrificed back in the first to get us to our squeeze play, and the only run in this game. RBI by Sho Taguchi is 35th as Ben Sheets goes back to work. This guy has just been flat out nasty.
We said that even though he's 0-2 against the Cardinals, I don't think there's any hitter that says he loves the challenge of facing it.
He has set down 18 straight since a leadoff double by David Eckstein, which was on the chalk. Rodriguez has also popped out to short. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. And then strikeout number 4. Ball that was in the zone and all of a sudden drops out. It's in the dirt. Look at that.
The top, and strikeouts have been piling up a little bit for Rodriguez. But you can understand this one. There's our hero.
Sho Taguchi batting third in this lineup today. It's been the theme, though, of this team. The Cardinals find a way, some way, somehow to pull out some of these victories. Injuries and all, as Taguchi hits it foul. That's about the first hard hit ball we've seen.
Yeah.
Let's check in with Joe Goldberg.
Well, guys, that bunt so far has been the difference. And how about this? Just check with StatSync. The last time a Cardinals number 3 hitter for the Redbirds has bunted for an RBI, May 23rd, 2003. Pujols in the 10th inning scoring Drew on a bunt single. The last time that they bunted for an RBI in the first inning, June 1st, 2002, as Taguchi smacks the hit. June 1st, 2002 versus the Pirates. Mike Matheny sacrificing in Edgar Renteria. So far, it's the difference today.
Different. Once again, an 8th place hitter.
Down in the order.
And, you know, traditionally you put your best hitter in the 3rd spot in the lineup. So in that case, you know, with the runner at 3rd base and 1 out, very rarely you're going to see a squeeze. If Tony La Russa, you know, I mean, he refuses to think about what he doesn't have and just concentrates on what he does have. It makes these guys all believe in themselves.
Edmonds 0 for 2, a check swing. He has struck out and fly to left. The Cardinals do have that very dangerous chip waiting in the dugout possibly, and that's Albert Pujols. He could pinch hit. They've got Mabry in there as well. John Mabry has not seen a lot of playing time as of late. Been a little nicked up, and the Cardinals have been using primarily, as we've talked about, Taguchi and Luna the last couple of days.
And they've done a nice job. And you know, when John is healthy, he's a big contributor off that bench. And how about the versatility we're seeing from different guys?
Even Seabold today.
Seabold is a great example today. Play the outfield. You know he plays 3rd base, plays 2nd base, and now 1st base.
He's made a couple of good plays over there too.
Very good plays.
Sometimes that can energize a team. Guys playing out of position, it's not as mundane, and I know that sounds crazy, but even Dave Duncan was talking about that yesterday. He said, I believe that Anthony Reyes is going to pitch well, but I also believe there's going to be an influx of enthusiasm because it's something different that we haven't seen.
Yeah, and you know, people get charged up. Look at how can you win with this lineup? Well, and then when you do win, then you see another one today.
Runner is going, a throw down to second, way late, and a stolen base on a late slide by Taguchi. Friday, August 19th, as Edmonds struck out on the pitch. Now 2 down is SBC men's and women's cap day. That's coming up. The first 12,000 men and 12,000 women 16 and over with a paid admission receive a specially designed Busch Stadium cap courtesy of SBC. Number to call is 421-2400. 5 strikeouts for Ben Sheets. Luna takes ball 1.
Batting .400 against the Brewers this season.
Hit to short, taken by Hardy. Cardinals are done, and it's time to stretch here in Milwaukee. A pitcher's duel this afternoon with St. Louis on top by the score of 1-0. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. Cardinals have a lead of 1-0. Bottom of the 7th already. Some afternoon baseball here on FSN. And the first pitch to Bill Hall is in the dirt. Jeff Suppan, another story that is developed today, has only allowed 3 hits. He's been terrific.
He really has, and he's won his last 4 road starts in this ballpark. He's 3-0 with an ERA of 1.80. That was coming in. That's dropped quickly.
That's a line shot in the left center field. Over to get it, Rodriguez. He'll cut it off. Hall is thinking 2. Throw into second is not in time. And the tying run for Milwaukee's in scoring position in their half of the 7th. He was thinking 2 all the way.
Yeah, ball up out over the middle of the plate and hit hard out in the left center. He never slowed down a bit, and maybe a good throw on line, they might have had him. Rodriguez gets over, cuts it off, got rid of it real quickly, but it came across his body a little bit, and it was just towards the third base side of the bag.
Now you have a sacrifice situation here for Miller to get to Hardy on deck. There's plenty capable of driving in that run with a fly ball. Ooh, just fouled down the first base line, trying to shoot it the opposite way.
Four hits allowed by Suppan. He has walked 3, but the last was in the 3rd. So he's kind of found this umpire strike zone.
Both these pitchers have been very good today. At one point, Ben Sheets set down 19 straight. And it's 1-1.
It's played by Diaz, and acknowledgement with Suppan, like I tested you a little too much. Off speed pitch, a little breaking ball, goes over there, and a nice pick. Tried to slide over there with his body, but was so far beyond his reach, he just got it with the glove.
Hits it to the right side, backhanded by Seabold, drops it, then Suppan covering it first. So Miller does his job, just hitting it to the right side, allowing the runner to move from second to third. That's Hall. Got an RBI opportunity now for Hardy, who has struck out and popped out.
You see Billy Hall, the play is behind him, so he doesn't really know. And that pop-up slide, so now he gets to third base and he can relocate the ball.
That's just little things, fundamentally sound. Right
Sure.
way to play the game.
Dave Duncan out to talk. I mean, right now, it was almost tempting to put on Hardy, or at least pitch around him.
I totally think that's the way to go.
Sheets and make them, maybe that's their best way to knock Sheets out.
Al, I think there's no other choice but to do that. You get it's twofold. You get Sheets out of the game. If they want to keep him in, they're playing right in your hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, I mean,
I didn't even think this would be a chance to where you pitch around him and even make that mistake. Just intentionally put him on and go after Sheets and make Ned Yost put the pressure on him.
Now they may, with the first pitch or two, is trying to totally pitch out of the strike zone, but you run the risk of a bloop. They do have the pitcher warming up in the Brewers bullpen, so they almost got to pull him back.
Here's a question for you though too.
Well, here's something you think about.
The squeeze.
4 pitch outs. Got the infield in, so you're going to pitch to him.
And the first pitch is a strike.
Well, that's one way to help stop a squeeze too.
Well, now the pressure goes back with Milwaukee.
Yeah, with defense, you know, it's if you get a bunt down in a squeeze situation, it doesn't even have to be a good one. Even if it's right back at the pitcher, it's still a very difficult play to defend.
I'm not so sure I'd even fool around with this.
Well, I know what you're saying, and that's why I thought that they would just try to pitch around him. Hardy has hit the Cardinals pretty well this season.
Infield in. Here comes an 0-1 pitch.
And hold the ball. Time being called.
And you do that just to see if somebody flinches and gives you a little indication of what they might do. That runner at third is Hall.
Tony fooled Ned Yost to the Brewers with a squeeze in the first inning with the third batter of the game. Now you see how good he is with his defense.
Almost threw it away. Brad Thompson is getting loose for the Cardinals in their bullpen.
The defense, the squeeze. See how Tony does that. You know, with what he tells his catcher, he communicates with the pitcher.
The thing is, though, if you walk him, you force Ned Yost to probably take out Ben Sheets. We've seen what the Cardinals do 7th inning or later because they get after bullpens.
I totally understand what you're saying. There's your pitch out. And you could do that 2 more times. Tony is the kind of guy that would start pitch out. I mean, you got to back up the first one, but are you willing to do it on the 4th pitch? You know, on a 3-2 pitch, call a pitch out.
A game within the game.
Yeah.
He's not breaking from third. The pitch is popped up behind home plate, and that'll find the seats. So the count is 2-2. And still tough decisions on both sides.
Sure. I mean, and the tough thing for the Brewers is Ben Sheets, such a poor hitter.
Oh, didn't get the call on the inside corner. He had stayed away on every pitch.
That's the pitch that he has not gotten the call. He's kind of gone away from it because he didn't get the call, but he sure would have loved to have one here. Inside pitch, you know, wasn't that bad for a hitter jumping away, but consistently, Chad Fairchild, the home plate umpire, has not called the pitch on the inside part of the plate.
Now here's what we're talking about with that 3-2 pitch. Do you pitch out? Do you try a squeeze? Runner is not breaking, and the pitch misses in. And Sheets is walking towards the plate. Would Yost allow him to hit in this spot?
Well, he is. Now you're going to do the squeeze with him.
Listen to these fans. They can't believe it.
You know, he's your horse, but he is 0-5.
You know, you're not getting many shots today, and this is one of your best opportunities. He's twice grounded out, once to third, the other time to second. So the double play, you can see where Eckstein and Luna, they are playing near the bag. Seabold holding at first, third baseman Nunez cheating in. Runners at the corners.
Hit 2 ground balls that weren't hit hard enough to get now safety squeeze.
He gets the bunt down. Suppan goes to first.
That wasn't a bad play by Jeff because he spun with the intent to see if he could trap the lead runner. He had no intention to throw to second base. Probably no one was there either. But to see too, could you trap the lead runner and get him in a rundown trying to go home?
That's a move that will be second guessed, I'm sure, if Milwaukee does not come back. Why not pinch hitting in this spot? And now you're back to the top of the order, but a base hit with 2 outs would erase all that. Then you still have Ben Sheets in the game.
Jeff Suppan, if you want the win, you know what you got to do right now.
And that's one of the things the Cardinals would like to see more of, him going deeper into games.
Well, he's got a chance.
And the first pitch is in the dirt. Runners at second and third. Suppan has gone 6 2/3, 5 innings, 6 innings, 6 innings, 6 1/3, 5 1/3, and 4 innings in his last 7 starts. So he's not gotten very deep.
99 pitches. They're all capable of throwing over 100.
The 1-0 is hit out to center. Edmonds on the move. He's going to catch it, and the Cardinals catch a break. They get out of the inning. Milwaukee strands 2. 8th inning coming up. St. Louis on top. Cardinals baseball from Milwaukee is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch, saluting America's responsible drinkers. Responsibility matters. And by Pontiac, brought to you by the first ever Pontiac G6. Go to www.pontiac.com. Pitchers today have been outstanding. Ben Sheets and Jeff Suppan. But there's no doubt that Ned Yost has left himself open to some second guessing with a few of the moves in that inning. But that's what baseball is all about. Is he elected to have Ben Sheets, who does not have a hit this year, hit for himself as Nunez swings and misses. Now if the Brewers come back and Ben Sheets is on the mound, it makes all the sense in the world. But it might be a statement about what he thinks of his bullpen.
The one thing is, if you're a manager and you worry about your post-game comments or trying to protect what you do in a game, you're in the wrong business. You've got to your team better than any writer or broadcaster. You got to do what you feel's right. And if you get fired, you did it your way. And he's not getting fired.
Swing and a miss by Nunez, and that's strikeout number 6 by Sheets. I mean, there's no doubt he is locked in, and this is as good as we've seen him in the last couple of years against the Cardinals. But you don't get many shots, and now they've got 6 outs to go.
And maybe you feel like you can survive, Suppan and the Cardinals.
This one is hit a mile high and out of play. Off the bat is Scott Seabold, who's done a nice job defensively for the Cardinals at first. Al Reyes saw Anthony last night. Al getting loose in the Cardinals bullpen.
Yeah, even if they don't get to Jeff's spot in the batting order, he may be through. That was an inning that takes a lot out of you. And 7 innings is a good job.
You might be wondering why not Tavares. It's a swinging bunt for Seabold, and he's going to reach. Well, the Cardinals just their 3rd hit this afternoon. And back to the point of Al Reyes getting loose. Tavares has been used an awful lot in this series and really in the last week or so. Cardinals would have Isringhausen available. He has picked up a save in this series, number 30. The base hits today for the Cardinals. That swinging bunt by Seabold. As you're going to look at Isringhausen, it was a single by Taguchi after 19 straight set down by Sheets. And Schumacher is going to be the pinch runner for Seabold. And then you've got the double lead off the game by David Eckstein. That was on the chalk down the third base line. Seabold goes 1 for 3. Schumacher just called up after Anthony Reyes sent down.
Now, time to sing a little praise for Seabold, because he made some very, very nice plays over there at first base. A couple times in pressure situations. Now he's got the infield single here that hopefully Diaz can do something.
Well, you've got
David Eckstein
on the on-deck
circle.
And he's not due up for 2 more hitters.
That's just kind of a decoy, because you have to have somebody there.
And you would figure that guy would be Pujols.
Well, but I mean, why not Suppan being there? Just to stand there.
Schumacher does have good speed, and he's at first. And Pujols, I believe,
388 average.
Yeah, pretty good numbers.
John Mabry is now at the on-deck circle, but they could always pull him back.
No activity from Milwaukee in their bullpen, and the hit and run was on, and it's line foul.
And Tony has a comfortable lead to where if he chose to do so, he could just sit there and say, Albert, you got the total day off.
which is
we don't even want your brain to think.
Well, he does that.
Yeah.
He'll tell guys, don't even think about the pinch hitting situations or defensive replacement late in the game.
Albert might just run through Tony's stop sign.
There goes Schumacher again, hit and run on to perfection. Schumacher around second base, on his way to third, and the throw away from the third baseman. A wild throw there by Carlos Lee, but it's off the front portion of the dugout. And now John Mabry is looking into the dugout if he's going to be called back. And let's take a look at Tony La Russa.
Tony, he's not excited into this game, is he? And Schumacher showed a new element of going from first to third on that ball.
And now it's John Mabry, a chance for John. Runners at second and third.
Of course, this just, you see Brewer fans are going, Ned, this is what you're supposed to do. You pinch hit for your pitcher when you have a scoring opportunity. Third baseman Billy Hall, he goes diving for this ball, and he hit the ground awfully hard, and really kind of had that arm, maybe hyperextended that arm a little bit.
Would you squeeze again with John Mabry? Good speed with Schumacher.
I wouldn't put anything past Tony.
Mabry swinging away on the first pitch.
It could change pitch to pitch. The one thing about a pitch out or squeeze play here with a left-handed batter, they can pitch out and there's no way John can just throw the bat out, but the catcher can see the play develop.
2 strikes on Mabry.
This is a tough pinch hitting assignment off his sheets. You've been sitting there, even though this game's at a quick pace. There's a lot of people believe when you've got a fastball like he has, just throw fastballs by a cold hitter.
Some big runs out there. Mabry's carved up on 3 pitches.
You see Ben Sheets trying to do everything he can to keep his team. There's the breaking ball, and John was now geared for the fastball. He threw the breaking ball and couldn't stop the swing.
Tony La Russa elected to go with Mabry, and now there's 2 outs, and this guy is a tough out in this spot. He'll put the ball in play more times than not and put pressure on the defense. Runners at second and third, back to David Eckstein.
John can go in and play first base and really just try and make it a complete day off for Albert Pujols. And then if you can pick up that victory also.
7th inning or later, a .330 hitter is David.
Cardinals are pretty good in that area. They've scored 172 runs in the 7th inning or later. That ranks 3rd in the NL behind the Reds and Braves. Flip side, they have allowed league low 111 runs after the 6th inning.
Eckstein with a base hit into right field. 1 run in. Here comes the second one chugging home. The play at the plate is not in time. Sheets isn't backing up. Eckstein all the way to second base, and the Cardinals have themselves a huge hit, and it's 3-0.
What was that stat about David Eckstein with .330 batting average in these situations late in the ball game, and a big hit. Plates 2, RBI total up to 40 now, and Albert Pujols has a complete day off. He's not even cheerleading. Now he's getting up. Now he's getting excited. Don't spend too much energy, Albert. We want you to play 4 games in Chicago.
I'm sure he'll be ready.
Oh, he'll be ready. You know that.
Cardinals with a lead of 3-0. A huge 2-out hit by David Eckstein. He almost scored a run and plated 2 others.
You almost didn't want to show that replay of Albert because 99.99% of the time he is the #1 cheerleader on that bench.
Swing and a miss by Rodriguez, and it's 0-2.
Now Albert's getting excited.
0-2 pitch to Rodriguez. Just got a piece. Another good afternoon, Al, for David Eckstein, standing at second base with an RBI single here with 2 outs in the 8th. 2 more RBIs. He now has 40 on the year, and he doubled to start this ball game back in the first and scored a run.
You know, he is second on the team in multi-hit games. We all know who number 1 is, but Eckstein with 36 multi-hit games, Albert with 42. Another run out there. You always push to get at least 5 runs, so a grand slam can't tie you. Get to 4. I'll take my chances.
And the move by Ned Yost to allow Sheets to hit has backfired, as he's allowed 2 runs here in the 8th. And it was a chance for the Brewers to get on the board. Their best opportunity of the day. And into Rodriguez. 2-2. That's the first fastball that Rodriguez has seen in this at bat.
Still 95 miles an hour, but you know, he didn't leave it in the middle of the plate. Left in a good spot up and in.
2-2 pitch. John got a piece again.
Breaking ball. Rodriguez had a big at bat last night late in the ball game. Eventually was the game-winning RBI.
Good piece of hitting with an opposite field base hit.
Yep. Pitch out away from him, went with the pitch and drilled it into left field.
And a swing and a miss on another curveball. So strikeout number 8 on the day. Al Reyes will come in for St. Louis. The cheerleading on the bench to make it 3-0 after the RBI base hit to play 2 by David Eckstein. Our Bank of America game recap. So Taguchi batting 3rd in this order today. Top of the first, and a suicide squeeze as Eckstein would score the first run of the game. Jeff Suppan solid today. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs. He walked 3 and he struck out 2. He's been lifted for Al Reyes. On the other side, Ben Sheets. He strikes out 8, allows 3 runs. But those two, a pitcher's duel this afternoon. That's your Bank of America game recap. Higher standards, Bank of America. And the first pitch by Al Reyes is a ball to Weeks. Numbers 2, 3, and 4 in the order for Milwaukee, as the Brewers are on the verge of being swept by St. Louis.
Mabry enters the game to play third base. He's entered the game as a pinch hitter, but stays in the game. And the same with Schumacher. He's out there in left field. So Reyes batting in the vacated Rodriguez spot. 48th appearance for Al Reyes. Hadn't pitched since Monday, and Tavares had pitched the last 3 days in succession.
And the pitch is fouled back. 2 balls and a strike. John Mabry stays in the ball game after his pinch hitting appearance, as he struck out for the second out in the top half of this inning. And he's playing first base. Here comes a 2-1 pitch. The outside corner. Reyes doesn't get the call. Cardinals at 72 and 41, on the verge of a sweep of the Brewers. And Chicago on the verge of being swept by Cincinnati at home. It's 8-1 Cincinnati. That game in the 6th.
Cardinals swept the Brewers in April here at Miller Park.
High fly ball out to center. Edmonds back on the track for the first out. Cardinal fans get in-game alerts, scores, breaking news, and more on your mobile phone for $3.99 a month. Text the word cards to 65246 or MLBGO, and charges will appear on your mobile phone bill. First man retired. Now it's Overbay. He's 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. And the first pitch, a low strike to Lyle Overbay. Al Reyes has been fantastic out of the bullpen for the Cardinals this year. One of the reasons the Cardinals could include Kiko Calero in their deal for Mulder is because of the emergence of Reyes at the end of last season. He pretty much has taken over that role.
Guys, Walt Jocketty said you check out his major league record, and it was very good even before he got to the Cardinals. Just no one gave him a chance.
1-1 pitch misses outside. The Cardinals with RBIs today, 2 from David Eckstein, and the other from the number 3 man in the lineup, Sho Taguchi, with a squeeze play and the top of the first of all things. And it's St. Louis with a 3-run lead. Here comes a 2-1 pitch.
That nice feeling around this ball club that every day you just don't know how, but you know it's going to be a winning scenario.
Finding ways to win, as David Eckstein has been in there day in and day out from opening day, one of the leaders of this club. 2-2 pitch, up and in. And Carlos Lee, he's waiting on deck. You'd like to see him come up with nobody on.
Extra benefit of the game last night and this lineup again today is that, you know, you're not asking the big guns to win it every time.
Ground ball pulled foul.
Everybody has a chance to contribute, and everyone has.
Ned Yost came in with high aspirations for this series as they started 4.5 games on the wild card and a chance to measure up with the game's best in the National League, and they're 5 outs away from being swept.
They played pretty well at home. They were 10 games over 500 at home coming into this series. They had a successful road trip where they were 10 games under, so they felt like they were starting to turn it around and were going to make an impact in the wild card race, or at least had a chance to do it because they play the leaders.
Another 3-2 pitch from Reyes. Popped up left side. Foul territory. Nunez out of room, off the tarp and into the seats.
Cardinals have won 9 of the first 12 meetings between these two clubs, and on the verge of winning 6 games here, 2 3-game series.
Cardinals have played well all time here at Miller Park. They're 25-13. Will come your way tomorrow at 12:30. Future Hall of Famer Greg Maddux against Mark Mulder. That's a base hit right side. 3-hit day for Overbay. Cardinal Baseball, a production of Bud Sports and an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. So 1 out hit by Overbay, and it brings in Lee. The reaction of Tony La Russa on the hit and run by Einar Diaz earlier. And here comes Dave Duncan to talk about the scout report on Lee.
And also buys a little more time for Ray King, depending on what Carlos Lee does, whether you bring in Ray to face Jenkins, the on-deck hitter.
Big loss today by the Yankees as the White Sox win it 2-1. So if you're thinking about the American League wild card, they're 3.5 games back there, and Oakland will play Anaheim tonight, continuing their big series out west. 136, 2 RBIs and 1 double. That's all Carlos Lee has done against St. Louis. A guy that's leading the National League in RBIs, and the Cardinals have held him in check. Back to the Yankees for a second now. They're 4.5 games back of Boston. Now, this is a team that has a $208 million payroll and may not make it to postseason play. And Randy Johnson is going to miss his start tomorrow.
And I think the boss has started to speak up and upset with Joe Torre.
All of a sudden he became a bad manager, huh?
Oh, yeah.
1-1 the count on Lee. He's popped out. He's flied to right, fly to left. Another high fly ball. This one into shallow center field. Edmonds coming on. And the Gold Glover has it for out number 2. So Carlos Lee with 1 RBI in this series, 0 for 4 today. And it brings in Jenkins.
This is one of these games too right now that Ray King needs a little confidence boost.
Sure does.
And bringing him in here, you know, you can win 2 games. You can win the battle of the minds, the mind control for Ray to kind of get him feeling good about himself, and you can win this game for the standings.
Now let's face it, you're going to need Ray King down the stretch, and obviously in postseason play as well. We'll step aside. King trots on in this 3-0 game. Numbers on Ray King, his 56th appearance of the year. He's 3-2. He picked up a win on Sunday after the David Eckstein grand slam. But this is a guy that has not been pitching well. Home runs allowed have been a problem for a guy that did not allow hardly any a season ago. Homer Brewer, first pitch is outside. It was almost like it was a lack of control on Sunday with Ray King. And you wonder about his confidence, and the Cardinals have got to have him step up down the stretch. Randy Flores has done a nice job from the left side out of the bullpen the first 2 nights, and this afternoon it's King to try to get this final out here in the 8th.
That's why you say it's real important for Ray to be given this opportunity in a close game to have a chance to get the big final out of the 8th inning. Many times as a reliever, when you have a little rough spot or a hiccup, you can just get 1 good appearance. Then you feel like you can build something off of that.
56 appearances with this one today for King. That's tops on the team. Next pitch, sharp slider, and that's strike 2.
Yeah, it's been inconsistent with that slider, and he throws Jenkins with it. Fastball, he's made some bad locations on it recently. And as you said, the home run balls allowed home runs in 2 of those 3 outings, those last 3 outings, and runs in 3 straight appearances before posting that win on Sunday with a scoreless 1/3 of an inning.
Let's see if he can get Jenkins here. 1-2 pitch. He got him.
That away, Ray.
Confidence boost for Ray King and a strikeout of Jenkins. It stays a 3-0 lead for St. Louis. We head to the 9th. Taguchi, Edmonds, Luna coming up. Milwaukee has left 8 on this afternoon. They trail 3-0. 9th inning here at Miller Park. And the batter will be Sho Taguchi. Looking ahead to the bottom half of this inning, Hall, Miller, Hardy coming up for Milwaukee. And Sho Taguchi is 1 for 2. First pitch he sees from Ben Sheets. It looks like he's going to go the distance as it grounded to 3rd. 1 pitch, 1 out. Let's check in with Brent Stover and a look at the Midwest Sports Report. At one point this afternoon, Ben Sheets had set down 19 straight. He has been dominant today as Edmonds pops it foul and out of play. 19 straight, but trails 3-0.
Nobody warming up in the Cardinals bullpen.
And I didn't see Isringhausen getting loose prior to this inning.
You did or
did not?
I did not either.
0-2 the count on the Cardinals center fielder. White Sox winners today in 10 innings over the Yankees 2-1.
Cal Eldred starting to throw.
Edmonds into center. Magruder is there. Cal Eldred a couple of seasons ago was the pseudo closer for the Cardinals when Isringhausen was hurt.
But I mean, he needs more time than 2 or 3 pitches. He's improved in that area, but
now he's getting loose in a hurry. He's starting to gear it back and get it ready as Luna, first pitch, fouls off our home plate umpire.
Isringhausen was in the bathroom.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I'm sure. Just join him now. Yeah, somebody I'd tell him, you know, there's 2 outs and 2 strikes on the hitter. And he could be out right now.
He did. So Luna strikes out. We move to the bottom of the 9th. From the bathroom to the mound, here comes Izzy. 3-0 St. Louis. Some of these fans have headed for the exits. The Cardinals with a lead of 3-0 and a chance at a 3-game sweep over the Brewers as Isringhausen coming in for the 2nd time in this series. Bill Hall will lead it off for Milwaukee. And then we'll see Miller and Hardy. Those 3 are due up. And the Cardinals got 7 strong innings from Jeff Suppan, as you see the numbers from Isringhausen. And Suppan allowed just 4 hits, no runs. Walked 3, struck out 2. 2/3 of an inning for Al Reyes. 1 hit, and then King got the final strikeout in the 8th. So here is Hall, who has doubled here today and 1 for 3. He's 0 for 4 against Izzy. Russell Brandon is also on that bench if need be. They could go there.
You know, many times as a relief pitcher, in your mind, you say, I don't need warm-up pitches. I could just walk from the bullpen to the mound, and you know you'll get a few down there in the pen, and you get your 7 warm-up tosses. Izzy trying to carry it to an extreme, as it appeared that nature called, and there was 2 outs and 2 strikes on him before he got to the mound after it looked like a bathroom call.
Hey man, you got to do what you got to do.
That's what I said, nature. But you know, they always said that first series with the Cardinals, he took way too many pitches warming up. So he's come in here throwing strikes.
0-2 the count. Next pitch to Hall. Fouled it back. Stays alive on the foul tip. Well, the Cardinals saw in their first series back from the All-Star break a hot team in Houston. They swept them. Milwaukee came into this series high hopes, one of the hotter teams in baseball, and they're on the verge of being swept by St. Louis.
There's ball.
0-2 pitch to the backstop. We're off to Chicago after this ball game. We'll bus to the Windy City.
I wonder if anybody will show up at those games.
12:30 if you can't be there on FSN tomorrow. Mulder and Maddox. That should be fun.
Fastball in.
He got him. See you later. First strikeout for Isringhausen. Good start for Izzy. Let's turn to our Bud Light play of the game. And what else? The power hitting of So Taguchi coming through in the first with a squeeze play.
Tony had him in the 3rd spot and used him. Lay down that squeeze. That held up until the Cardinals added 2 more in the 8th inning. Ben Sheets will truly be a tough luck loser in this one if Izzy gets the final 2 outs. Both teams have 5 hits, but the Cardinals the only one on the scoreboard in the run column with 3.
Against Isringhausen, Miller is 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Swinging away at the first pitch. He has walked today. He has struck out and grounded out. Got a 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals, if they can hold on with this victory, be number 73 on the year and take them to a season high 32 games above the 500 mark.
And you put more pressure on Houston, who plays later tonight in a very important game in the wild card, as Washington is visiting Texas.
A ball and 2 strikes. Next from Isringhausen. Popped up right side. Should be caught, and it is by So Taguchi. 2 outs. This could be save number 31 for Isringhausen if he can hold on. Number 30 last night, giving him 5 30-save seasons in his career, and 3 of them with the Cardinals, as Wes Helms is introduced as the pinch hitter for Hardy. And the Cardinals an out away from going through Milwaukee with a sweep.
Helms, second best in the National League as a pinch hitter.
First pitch, a ball. 317 lifetime average against the Cardinals in his career, and pinch hitting this season. That's second best in the National League at 448. Branyan has moved to the on-deck circle. Will we see him? It's popped up right side. Is there a play? Got 3 rows deep. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tony La Russa is still into this game. Every pitch, every out. And think about what this team has accomplished over the last 2 days. A Memphis team at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the order yesterday, and a team that, and this is no disrespect, but has So Taguchi batting 3rd, going against Ben Sheets, a team that has Luna and Nunez, Seabold, Diaz, Rodriguez in the starting lineup. A beauty of a pitch there by Isringhausen. 1-2 the count.
Even last night, Doug Davis is a pretty good pitcher. He pitched a serviceable game. Sheets, you never feel comfortable with him pitching, so.
Cardinal fans on their feet here in Milwaukee. Ouch. You're right. I mean, Davis's numbers coming into the game last night pretty good. Ben Sheets, one of the top right-handers today.
Derek Turnbow, their closer, has had 24 saves for a club that's under 500. Keep him from making an appearance in the series.
1-2 the count.
He wants curveball, wants the cutter.
Cordero of Washington with 37 saves, leads the National League. Tony La Russa with that last pitch. So a chance at number 31 this afternoon for Isringhausen.
Curveball.
Hit out to center. This should do it. Edmonds there, and it's a Cardinals sweep here in Milwaukee. A final of 3-0. Jeff Suppan is now 11-8. The Cardinals improved to 73-41. 3-0 the final. A sweep for St. Louis, and we're off to Chicago. Back with more in just a moment. Cardinals win it this afternoon behind only 5 hits, 3-0. Jeff Suppan picks up the victory. He's now 11-8. The Cardinals with victory number 73 this afternoon. 73-41 is the record as we head to Chicago after the sweep of the Milwaukee Brewers. Good victory today for the Cardinals. A lineup that sported So Taguchi in the 3rd spot in the order. Hector Luna batting 5th, but yet it doesn't matter. The Cardinals find a way to pull it out. 3-0 this afternoon. Tomorrow will come your way at 12:30. Mark Mulder will be on the mound looking for victory number 14. He'll be opposed by future Hall of Famer Greg Maddux. He's 8-9. Midwest Sports Report comes your way next. Cardinals win it 3-0.